Welcome to this very important instructional video on how to set up your gradebook and how to add rubrics to your courses. If you need any support with this, please come and see me. I'm more than happy to help you. So when a new course is created and you go into it, it's going to be pretty blank because you haven't imported your resources from your group resources section yet. But you also have to set up your gradebook so that it works. Now, because we are an MYP school that grades with criterion-based assessments, we need to set it up in a very specific way. So your default settings will look like this. At the top, we start with categories. The categories are the types of assignments. So we can add categories here, and we want you to add two. There is formative, leave calculated by, and drop low 0 to there. And we want you to add summative and create. Now, if I click on this star, this is one that is going to be by default when I create assignments. So everything you can set it to, everything is default formative until something is actually summative. Then you have to actually make a selection that it becomes summative. The grading period, or actually before we get there, weighted categories. We do not weight categories. So if you find that this is clicked, then please just unclick weighted categories. We don't say a formative is 20% and a summative is 80% when we determine final grades. We use a best fit model in the IB, so please make sure there are no weightings in your gradebook. Grading periods and final weights. Again, we do not have final weights. If this is set to 100, as it sometimes is, just make sure that this is set to 0. Okay. Now, the final grade settings, the gradebook scale, we do not use a numeric or a letter scale. We use an 8-point MYP scale. So make sure you select that. We can't select the rounding because we do not do rounding. Now, in control grading columns, these are some of the columns, extra columns that will show up. You want a course override column, hide grading category score column, and maybe a grade period override columns. You don't really need that one, but the top two you would definitely want to include. In visibility settings, you want to hide the overall grade in a student grade report, and you want to hide the grading period grades in a student grade report. Right now, before we click Save Changes, I also want you up here to star the 8-point scale, set as your default scale. Okay, go ahead and click Save Changes. Okay, your gradebook is now set up, but you still do not have any of your MYP rubrics. Now, to add the rubrics, I want you to navigate to your source resources, go to Group Resources, and go to SS Staff. You will notice this folder there called MYP Rubrics. This is an English class, so we'll add the language and literature rubrics. That is grade 6, so add year 1. All right, and here you will see I've already pre-built 15 different rubrics for you that has every possible letter combination that you might want to use. So select all of them and then click Add to Course. Choose which class you want to add that to. And they're all there, so click on Import. All right, now when I go back to my course and I go to my gradebook, sorry, if I go to my grade setup and I go to rubrics, there are all the different rubrics that I could possibly want to use. So if I now create an assignment, you will see we've set the category as formative by default. If you want to change it to summative, you have to select it to be summative. So if it is summative, please indicate with an S. And this is a whatever assignment this is. You put a description in, you add text, you add content, you can add media, you can add videos and from your OneDrive. You can leave an audio video recording as instructions. You can set your due date. Your grading period will be a semester once we're in the semester. And make sure if you want submissions, that submissions are enabled, and then click on create. Now I made a mistake, sorry, let me go back. I did not select the rubric I wanted. So instead of just the scale, go ahead and select the rubric that you want to use. So if you're assessing all 4 criteria, select that rubric. And it will now add that rubric. You can say A, B, C, and D have now been attached to this assignment. Here we go. All right, so in my gradebook, when I am now providing grades, sorry, I'll take this out. I was messing around with things earlier, forgot to delete it. So now that assignment is there, I can now assign a grade. So for criterion A, if I say that this is a 4, for B a 5, for C a 4, for D a 6, and I click save. Now it does add it up because we now have an 8-point scale and there's 4 criteria, so that'll be a total. However, when we go to our mastery, it will still display the mastery out of 8. So now you can see there are the scores that we had just entered. And if I look at the student there, I can see D is his strongest criteria currently, and then it auto makes it until which one is not his strongest, where they need development. So you can kind of see what that would look like for the student. Okay, thank you.